Record now. Okay, beautiful. So hi, my name is Jerry Lucas. I'm the program manager at the Queer Cultural Center. Welcome to our CQC1 information session. This is going to be for hide my captions. This is going to be an information session to prepare you for the Creating Queer Communities Level 1 application. This program is now in its second year. We just had our inaugural cohort this past year, and it's wrapping up currently. And so we are putting the call out to make sure that we get folks in for our cohort next year. We'll tell you a little bit about the flow of the program, what you should expect, what we're hoping to see on applications, and we're going to be answering questions, most importantly, toward the end. So if you have a question that pops up, please just jot it down and know that we'll have plenty of space to go over your inquiry at the end of the program. And yeah, we can also probably stop recording for questions if folks are more comfortable with that. But your question may also be someone else's. So if you all are open to keeping the recording going, we can definitely do that as well. All right. Cool. So for our agenda today, we're just going to be talking about who QCC is, what CQC is, what we're offering. We're going to be talking a bit about eligibility. And then lastly, we're going to be talking about how to apply. I'll probably just do a quick overview of the application if folk have any questions about it. And yeah. We'll go over the timeline for the program and then have time for questions. Okay. Yes, I forgot my picture. Beautiful. So the QCC team. Hi, I'm there. I'm the program manager. Sara is our deputy director. Vienna Alvarez is our director of production and development. And Anand Carla is currently our executive director, but it was just announced today that he'll be stepping down. So we are in search of a new executive director. However, our programming will be flowing and continuing as normal over the next year. But that is a big change. So just wanting to highlight that for folks as well. Okay. So who is QCC? So since our founding in 1993, QCC has uplifted the work of queer and trans artists by offering supportive programming. We've served an estimated 475,000 LGBTQIA2S plus residents of the greater regional San Francisco Bay Area. Some of our programs include the National Queer Arts Festival, Creating Queer Communities, fiscal sponsorship, and artist services. So that's grant writing, fundraising, workshops, etc. That will do like for taxes, around things like budgeting, around things like developing contracts. We've proudly helped over 50 Bay Area LGBTQIA2S plus artists and arts organizations to secure over 9.2 million in programmatic and general operating funds. So our fiscal sponsors are folks that are fiscally sponsored programs, let me slow down a little bit, are some pretty sizable projects in the Bay, like QuackMap, Queer Women of Color Film Festival, Afro Latin Dance Festival, Trans March, Fresh Meat Festival. All of these programs actually were birthed out of our Creating Queer Communities program, the original iteration of it, which had been running for about 25 years and is very similar to what we're doing now in the Creating Queer Communities Level 2 program, which is more for event producers and collectives who are trying to create sustainable event productions in the Bay Area. We'll get into that a little more in a second. But yes, and of course, our mission. We promote social justice and the artistic and financial development of queer arts and culture. We are steward artists whose programs nourish, connect, and mobilize trans and queer communities in San Francisco and its diaspora. So that is why we exist. That is a bit about what we do. And so, creating queer communities. In 2023, the Queer Cultural Center, QCC, was thrilled to relaunch our Creating Queer Communities program. It is a professional development that, of course, began for like 25 years ago, um, mostly to help event producers. But we wanted to create two levels to be able to also support emerging individual artists as well in the Bay, especially folks who come from QT BIPOC backgrounds. And we have, successfully with the programs. We are running our first CQC2 program now. We just got off the ground with that and are, as I said, starting our second cohort of Creating Queer Communities 1, which is what we are hoping y'all will apply for. Um, do, do, do. And so, yes, we'll talk a little bit more about what the Creating Queer Community 1 program entails. Um, but we are pretty much in a developmental phase of these programs still. So we are definitely asking for feedback from community, from folks who've taken the programs, and from folk who, just like heard of us in a roundabout way, just what folks would like to see as we're creating and expanding our programming going forward. So just all that to say, we are still in an iterative process and in very inventive space with where we're at as an organization. So creating queer communities overview. So just to show or go over some structural aspects of like what each program is meant to create. So creating queer communities is, as I discussed, creating queer communities level 1 is for our emerging artists. Creating queer communities level 2 is for event producers. You all would be applying to CQC1, which aligns with our Fall Queer Arts Festival. And so what we are doing for that is we're going to every year be having a showcase that is a part of the Fall Queer Arts Festival for our Creating Queer Community 1 cohort fellows. So we'll get into the artist commission that you all receive, as well as some of the additional funding that is received for the learning aspect of the Creating Queer Communities 1 program. But the biggest part of this that you need to know is Creating Queer Communities 1 is a fall to fall program. Creating Queer Communities 2 is a spring to spring program. 1 is for emerging artists. 2 is for event producers. So that's the biggest thing. So as you can see here, our relaunched CQC program has split into 2 levels. As I said, fall to fall, spring to spring. Each festival is anchored with at least one special project announced in advance. So this past year for our special project in the Spring Festival, we did an event called We Paddle Together with Elle Frank, which was this like really beautiful ritual for these relaunch of like these canoes that have really, I believe, hadn't been launched or yeah, really touched in about 200 years, I believe. And it was a really beautiful experience that was emerging of arts and culture and tradition. And this coming fall, we're going to be having Weaving Spirits have their festival as an anchoring portion of the National Queer Arts Festival, along with our Creating Queer Communities 1 cohort showcase, which you all are welcome to attend. Level 1 focuses on artist development for emerging artists and provides workshops to support you in professionalizing your practice. So we'll get into what that means a bit more in a second. And level 2 focuses on supporting emerging event producers by financially supporting an event. So we provide a $5,000 commission to event producers to have their event be a part of the Spring National Queer Arts Festival, and also support them with around another $5,000 to with their like production fees, with acquiring a venue, with getting certain like line items like security, things like that completed as well. So that's two very different programs, two very different like workloads, but just you know, in case you're interested, you all are more than welcome to apply to our spring cohort, which we will be putting out a call for probably in March for 2025. If that's something that, you know, you're like, oh, well, emerging art stuff is cool, but like I've been producing events for XYZ amount of years, then maybe, you know, that could be for you as well. So just we'd be more than happy to see your application, and you know, have you can for sure send an email to me if you have any questions. Okay. So a deep dive into CQC1. So CQC1 is the foundational level of the Creating Queer Communities program. It's a year-long cohort style arts ed program that pays you to learn and develop your craft and supports the development of your commissioned project for QCC's, there we go, Fall Queer Arts Festival CQC1 Showcase in October 2025. So you'd be supported with structured learning. So that looks like workshops that occur once a month, one-to-one mentorship. You have access to myself, the QCC team, and definitely our network. We really try our best to connect y'all with folks who will support you in developing your craft, and also project development by the QCC staff. So supporting you and getting your project from point A to point B. If this is something, you know, since this is a program for emerging artists, we don't expect you to have had done a lot of commission projects, right? So we are more than willing to support you in planning that out, regardless of whether that's like on a financial level or whether that's, you know, just figuring out deadlines for how to pace yourself for a creative project, which is an awkward place sometimes. So yes, we're available for that. And level 1 is designed for new artists who have never shown their work publicly or have fewer than 3 credited published works. So what we're really looking for is folks who are really serious about their craft, who are like, you know what, I really want to go for this. I want to try it, but I've only done like, you know, maybe an open mic or something. And like, I've never really had the resources to pour as much into this as I'd like to. This would be an opportunity for you. We're definitely, you know, we don't have a lot of slots in this cohort, so we are definitely looking for folks who would really like to grow in their artistry, and are kind of like solid in the fact like, yes, I want to go in this direction. Now, do you have to have everything together? No, by no means, but kind of be in a space where we're hoping that you'll be in a space where you're like, I do want to pursue this as more than um like a thing that I do 3 times a year. You know what I mean? So yes, that's more of what we're looking for. Um just really earnest intent. So QT BIPOC artists selected for the 2025 Level 1 CQC Emerging Artist Development Cohort will receive, that was a mouthful, yes, structured virtual and in-person training series of 6 workshops, including topics such as taxes for artists, budgeting, grant writing, marketing, and more in Oakland and or San Francisco. An opportunity to perform in QCC's 2025 Fall Queer Arts Festival Emerging Artists Showcase. Every artist will be getting 15 minutes. One-to-one coaching from QCC staff for artistic and technical production support, professional headshots, honorarium to support participation in the 6 workshops at $75 per workshop for a total of $450, a $500 commission for your new work to be presented in the 2025 Fall Queer Arts Festival New Artist Showcase in October or November 2025. Okay. So just an overview of the workshops that we're planning. So we have, of course, our orientation in December, our tax workshop in January. Um, in February, our budgeting workshop. We have a creating artist bios workshop in March 2025. April, we have an artist statement and cultural relevance statement workshop. May, we're going to not be having a workshop, but we'll be meeting up at the National Queer Arts Festival. Um, and we're going to be essentially, it's not going to be a typical workshop, but we're going to be connecting you all with some of our event producers from CQC level 2, and just making space for those connections so that, you know, like if you all are looking to perform in the Bay, you are connected with folks who are in alignment with, you know, our values and hopefully your values, who are looking for folks to add to their events and things like that. June 2025, midway program evaluation. Once again, we'll be meeting up at NQAF. We're going to be having 2 months of just back-to-back events. We will be having like one-to-ones though during this time. So like if this is like definitely the time where if you want to spend like an hour or so with me or the QCC staff or connect with someone in our network, this would be the time where we could like, you know, coordinate that and make sure that you all are getting some of that like one-to-one support. July, QCC is on break that month. In August 2025, post our festival. August 2025, we're having the headshot workshop. And then September 2025, we're having a marketing and communications workshop. And then October to November 2025, we will not be having workshops due to our production preparation. That's just going to be kind of production mode space. Um, mm, Now, what we are doing, I did mention that we have a grant writing workshop. Our grant writing workshop is kind of going to be taking a different form that makes it a bit more accessible to our entire community for our entire QCC community. We're going to be more so partnering with a facilitator to do a grant workshop that's available to both the Creating Queer Communities Level 1 cohort and 2 cohort. This is because our grant writing workshops, the workshop we offered this year was very in-depth, very rich, and it is something that we are giving people the space to opt into because it is one, not cheap to hold, and also we just really want to make sure that the folk who are signing up for that course or the folks that that course is available to are ready to undertake the curriculum. You are pretty much creating a grant proposal. The feedback that we received was it felt like a project in and of itself. So we're giving people the space to, you know, if you want to take that on, great. I highly recommend you do. Grant writing is a great skill to have as an artist. It's honestly, it can be very life changing. It was for me, I'll say that. And so we highly recommend that y'all take that course and take advantage of it when it pops up. And also, we want to make sure that folk who are, uh, you know, wanting to take that course are understanding what they're signing up for. So, yes. Mm, are you eligible? Okay. So you are eligible to apply if you are a new or early career queer artist embarking on your journey into the art world. QCC defines new or early career artist as someone who has less than 3 credited published works. So this program is for the person who like, you know what, honestly, it's like you could have been like just started performing or just started we'll get into the type of mediums that we're looking into, but just started set designing. But you know, you could have also been the person who's been performing wherever you can perform for like 10 years, right? And just does not have a published work, but would like to push yourself into that space. This program is also for you as well. So please really take heed of that 3 credited published works. So that's like an album, an EP, something like that, right? A book. I don't think we have writing on here, but Y'all know what I mean. This is for performing arts. A play. There we go. Like, what is the theater version? Okay. You are based in the SF Bay area. You're at least 18. You identify as a member of the LGBTQIA2S plus community. You identify as Black, Indigenous, or another person of color. You are willing and able to attend mandatory workshops from December 2024 to September 2025. Some will be in person in San Francisco and some will be in Oakland. Um, we're really kind of leaning more toward virtual at this moment, but we just really ask that folk be willing to and prepared to travel if need be. Um, we want to share your artistic, or yes, we're hoping that you want to share your artistic work in a 15-minute set in the fall 2025 National Queer Arts Festival Emerging Artist Showcase for 2 nights in October and November 2025. We are still confirming the exact dates. And we will let you know as soon as we know what our projected dates are for that, but we do ask that you keep your calendar clear once we provide you those projected dates. We are wanting to create and share artistic work that nourishes, connects, or mobilizes trans communities in the San Francisco Bay Area and its diaspora. So we are really looking for folks who are wanting to make and create art about their experiences, about the experiences of their communities, about what they'd like to see in the world, the changes they'd like to see in the world, all of that good stuff. So, you know, put some purpose in there. We're looking for folk who are seeking foundational knowledge to gain confidence and learn how to grow your creative practice. And we are looking for folk who have an artistic or creative practice that falls into one or more of these 4 categories. Okay, so mediums. All right, so we are looking for folks who are in literary mediums. So poets, playwrights, songwriters, storytellers, and spoken word artists. Um, theater or performance, actors, performing artists, performance artists. We should add dance as well, as in that category. Definitely add that there as well, but just dance is welcome, just for the record. Music, singers, musicians, DJs, music producers, and then interdisciplinary visual arts and set design. So installation artists, right? Set designers, interdisciplinary artists who utilize both visual and performing arts within their practice. So what do I mean by this? So for example, this year we have someone who is doing both, does a lot of elaborate movement, I believe, and also um, I believe they're also creating costumes, but they're submitting like a video art piece to us this year. We have folk who are doing art installations as their pieces that are like, something that require audience engagement. There are like a lot of different ways you can spin that could be a very broad interpretation, right? So just like, really be specific in your application about what you want to present, and mostly that piece of like, how will the audience be interacting with what you're doing? That's the most important piece that we're looking for there. But we are welcoming visual artists, but like not necessarily like, think immersive, not like going up to a wall saying hello to the painting and then leaving, right? We want immersion for sure. And oh, we also have someone who's like designing the set, right, for the space as well. So um, yeah, just thinking along those lines and wanting to give you all some examples. And also, yes, this list is not exhaustive. So if you don't know if your artistic discipline fits into any of these categories, you can also ask in the Q&A or send me an email, which I will give you my email before we leave. Okay, cool. So the timeline. Of course, today we have our info session, which we are recording and putting online. November 5th, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. That is a Monday. Applications are due. It was Sunday last year. very sad. I actually was going to apply and I missed it because I thought it was a Monday, but it was a Sunday. So we're going to do it on Monday because I'm sorry, I wasn't awake on Sunday. So just going to put that there. November 18th to 2020, 18th to the 22nd. Words are hard right now. November 18th to the 22nd, 2024. We're going to have interviews. November 27th to 2024, QCC staff will notify accepted applicants by email. December 11th, 2024, orientation is going to be in person. We're going to have a meal provided for selected members. And orientation is mandatory, so please mark your calendar now, just so you can get ahead of that. Even if you're just applying, it's just good to have in mind. And then December through September 2025, we'll have monthly workshops scheduled in alignment with y'all's availability, which will take a survey at the beginning of the program and base all of our workshop planning around that. So once again, some workshops will be in San Francisco, some will be online, and all are mandatory for selected cohort members. Okay, so once again, deadline is November 5th, 2024. And work sample links are optional. If you don't have any work samples, that will not count against you, but we would like to have an understanding of what you are wanting to do or hoping to create in the program. And CQC 1 is for individual artists. So duos, collective, other groups can be considered for CQC 2 in the spring if you have a concept for an event that you would like to create. So now, yeah, do y'all have any questions or do you have any questions? I'll probably stop the recording now.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I do have a hi. I have a question. Number one, I was wondering, would drag artists fall under this performing artist
Yes.
umbrella?
Yes.
Okay, and then number two, is it possible to do both cohorts concurrently, or at the same time? Like if I also had a group.
So we are not recommending that. So I think right now I'll say no. However, it's not something that's here. Did I stop? We don't recommend it. However, if that's something that you feel you have the capacity to do, because both programs are a pretty heavy lift, I'd say apply, but I cannot promise that that's something we're really looking to hold two folks or hold folks with two projects at the same time. Just because we do recommend some distance in between those two experiences, but feel free to apply, but no promises. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. This was a very informative workshop.
Love that. Okay.
You did
Well,
great.
thank you.